Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Hushlife podcast. We are on a roll here. This is 2 podcasts in a row, and we're firing the podcast up. We had a little bit of a hiatus from, I think it's October of 2023. We hadn't done a podcast until yesterday or the day before. So,
Dang, man.
So we took a little bit of a break, but we've been running a little lean and creating as much content as possible. But before we hop into today's podcast, I want to remind you guys, we have just a couple days left in the Dream Can-Am Defender giveaway. So make sure you go get entered right now. And every $1 you spend on our website or mobile app gets you automatically entered to win a $30,000+ Can-Am Defender Limited shipped straight to your door, 0 miles. So make sure you go get entered. And anytime you guys make purchases on our app or our website, just helps us continue to do this stuff. So today is a very special podcast for me.
Hold up. I want to enter that, but if I actually came out of the drawing, that would look really bad, huh?
I don't know. We have a whole.
That's the dream ride, man.
Yeah, we have a whole legal team and everything that handles it. So
that handles the draws.
Yeah, dots our I's and crosses our T's.
That's why I never enter those freaking raffles, because I'm like, they know who they're going to pick.
No, it's pretty cool. Every year, this is a little behind the curtains, but we'll get our primary winner, and then we have like 2 backup winners if we can't get in contact within like 3 days of the primary winner.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. But
today, I'm entering. You have a legal team running the whole thing.
Yeah, it's completely.
I'm in.
Completely legal, and
might as well be in.
And it's not even rigged as bad as the Utah draw results. That's sweet.
You have a chance. I am so excited for today's podcast. As many of you are aware, hunting season is upon us, and I know there's people already getting after it in Nevada and whatnot, but this next week is the opener of archery mule deer here in Utah. And today, sitting across from me, I have my uncle-in-law, Justin Gordon, who's arguably one of the best mule deer hunters I know of and have physically been able to converse with and pick his brain. And then beside me, I have my little brother, Jed, who's going to be hunting and filming with us this fall as well. So if you guys are into any type of mule deer hunting tactics or gear, you're gonna want to download this one and just sit back and relax, because I have a good feeling that this podcast is going to be pretty heavy into tactics and gear. But
because I'm going to interview these two, that's why
Justin's flipping the script. So Justin, do a quick little elevator pitch, introduce yourself and who you are and your occupation, and kind of.
Fortunately, I've been on the podcast before.
Yeah.
I'm in banking, so getting out for hunts it's a struggle, as we've talked about. Every year I want to do more hunts, and every year if I have more than one really good tag in my pocket, it's too many. So that's it. I mean, I've been doing the same job in the same space, I should say, for 25 plus years, and spend all my time with my family until the 1st of September. Then archery season fires up and I get a couple of weeks away, and that's about it. So because of that, you choose. I mean, if your situation is like mine and you live where I live, your choice is elk or deer. And mule deer, trophy mule deer for me have always been, I felt like, a little bit more elusive. I'm not saying that trophy elk aren't, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I think it's more difficult to find a 195 plus mule deer than it is to find the equivalent type of scoring bull elk and get it on the ground. Yeah. Could be totally wrong. That's just my perspective. So that's what's driven me for the last 25 plus years of being in the woods.
No, we had this debate internally the other day, and this was my take, because I'm a mule deer guy as well. I think it is easier to find a 200-inch mule deer than it is to find a 400-inch elk. But I think it is easier to kill the 400-inch elk than it is to kill the 200-inch mule deer.
I think in today's, and you know what drives my perspective of that, you have to go back to the day when there were 400-inch bulls coming off of every unit in Utah. There was a heyday for a while in Arizona and Utah.
Yeah, like 2008 to like 2013, 14.
Yeah, and even going back before that, if you went back into the late 90s, the idea that I always had in my head, right or wrong, was you can buy a trophy bull, period. I don't care how much money you spend at auction or on a tag, you may or may not come away with a mule deer over 200 inches.
Yeah.
So that was my perception in the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s. And it's probably changed a lot since then, but that's still kind of the way I see the world is if you have enough money, you can buy a 380 or a 400-inch bull. There's no amount of money that guarantees you a trophy mule deer, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially high country archery type of mule deer.
Yeah.
I
think that's the pinnacle, right?
Yeah.
We all talk about it. I think with elk archery, it's a completely different environment. Bugles, you're able to call them to you sometimes, right? It's 1 in every 10 in a lot of places, or 1 in 100 bulls that are bugling actually come in. But with deer, like, I would almost like, you can't do that. You have to stalk them or ambush them or make a set. And you can do that with elk early, right? But it's so hard where elk live to just stalk elk. You'll blow them all out.
Well, and on the flip side of that, this is diving down rabbit holes, but elk don't have many natural predators. Like, maybe if a crazy lion, a big old Tom gets crazy, he might be able to take down a big bull elk, you know? But I would just go out on a limb here and say that mountain lion's probably taking down a calf or a yearling cow over trying to get a big old bull. Now, wolves are a completely different story. Grizzlies are a different story. But as far as, you know, your Utah, Nevada, Arizona type of units, mule deer are getting taken out weekly. They're always turned on. They're always triggered.
Yeah.
So that adds a whole nother layer to the cake if you're comparing apples to apples. I mean, mule deer are always watching their six, where I feel like elk, big bull elk, can get a little dumb, not even during the rut, but just get comfortable. Like, my favorite thing to do is hunt late season bull elk, and Eric and I have done it several times, and it's like, granted, it's rifle hunting in like 2 feet of snow, but a lot of these bulls hunker down and just weather the storm, you know? And
yeah.
I don't know. I'm a big mule deer guy, but elk are pretty dang good to eat.
Yeah, I should probably relook at my my perspective or my paradigm, because it could be changing. Because I've never shot a bull over 320, probably over 300, because I literally shoot for meat. I'm starting to have a little bit of a hankering to go chase a big bull elk.
Yeah.
But again, I would probably hunt it differently. I like early season bulls because I've seen them in situations where you could go spot and stalk for a bull elk before they, you know, get crazy. But the other thing is, people think about high country mule deer as like, oh, once you find them, the hard part is getting within archery range. If you've been in the high country enough, just like elk or any other animal, I've had in the middle of, you know, late August, early September, there's no pressure anywhere. I've had the biggest mule deer, some of the biggest mule deer I've ever chased, 2 of them that I can think of right now that just flat ghosted me. They weren't pushed. There were no hunters. There was nothing going on. They just disappeared. And the explanation is always they go nocturnal, but who knows? Being up there and knowing that every other buck that has been there all summer that you've been scouting is still there, and the one deer, the deer is gone, and he doesn't show up for 9, 10, 12, 14 days, gone. That's an interesting scenario to try to, that's a code that I haven't cracked. I mean,
Yeah.
So you just hope they come back the next year. And I think the same thing can happen with elk, but I think that's another fun aspect of high country mule deer that a lot of people think, oh, it's these big open basins, and once you found them, you know, the gig is up. But I've had them disappear.
Yeah, man.
I think they have, like, I've talked about it with other people, but they have a sixth sense, right? Big mule deer. Like, one buck that I've hunted comes particularly in mind. It was big buck, muzzleloader. I was scouting him during the archery hunt in Utah, and I watched him for 3 weeks, and literally the only person up there, no archery hunters, no scouters. I would park way back, I'd hike way in, And I just sit like 400 yards and just watch him, just trying to pattern this deer. And 2 days before the hunt, before any pressure, anything, gone.
Yeah.
And granted, this is September when they're stripping velvet. This is a muzzleloader hunt, right? They change a little when they strip, but all his buddies are still there every morning. Hunt comes around. Matt even came up towards the 4th, 5th day. I sat there for 5 days into the hunt. So now it's been 7 days not seeing him. And he randomly showed back up. And it's like, where did he go? Like, because same kind of thing, big, wide open basin. I watched it every day. And then day 5 of the hunt, he's just, there he is. Bang. You know, it's like no pressure, just disappears.
Justin, what would you say? I kind of have this theory, and I recommend it sometimes to gotten messages about one kid in particular found a sweet buck, just a hammer. Like he's got splits off his splits type of deer. And he's like, hey, Matt, like found this big deer. I want to try and kill him. Like what's your biggest, tips here? And I gave him like a quick little elevator pitch, and I want to run it past you, and I want you to be like, yeah, that's valid, or I think a couple of those things could be tweaked. So first thing I told him was like, as often as you can get in there and glass it without being within 1,000 yards of him, like stay back and just try and get eyes on him as many times before the hunt. Those are all little, data points that you're just making, like, because he's on, it's lower country stuff, oak brush, sage. Yeah. So it makes it a little more difficult. And so I told him that tip number 1, get in there, get your eyes on him as many times as possible. And then tip number 2, I told him like because he's jonesing that the deer's going to move. And he sent me these videos in mid-July, and I'm like, this is my opinion. I want to get your thought process. Where a deer is at July, August, first couple weeks of August, is where they feel 100% the most confident, comfortable, and want to be. They could be anywhere on a whole mountain, and they choose this pocket, a sanctuary. And I truly, truly don't believe mule deer move that sanctuary until, one, they're either like buggered several times. Even then, I still think they kind of circle back to that zone. Or 2, snow and the rut pushes them out. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on those 2?
I agree. I think that sometimes people get a little aggressive while they're scouting.
Yeah.
And I've even gone in and bumped animals to see what their escape route is.
Yep.
To see if there's an opportunity for an ambush play there, right? But usually that doesn't do you any favors. But I do agree, in spite of that, right? In spite of that, I do agree that my experience would confirm what you're saying. I think sometimes, depending on the country that you're looking at, it can take until the end of July, first part of August, before they're really in that range that they're going to hang out in. Now, in lower country, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah, and to confirm that, I mean, just one of the guys that I hunt with last year, he ended up killing at the very end of September, like the last day of the archery season. And and we've all been there, right? We've all been back in there October or whatever the time frame is. And as you pointed out, unless there's been something in the weather that has moved that bachelor herd, by and large, within a certain area, those animals are still there until the snow pushes them out.
Yeah. I've just seen it time and time again in, like, I call my own little petri dishes is what I call the mountain ranges I hunt, like my little test tube that I can just analyze. And time again, I'll see a deer there in July, and I'll see that same deer there in November right before snow hits. And it's like, he hasn't hardly moved a couple hundred yards,
Yeah. To take that one step further, I had an experience probably about, I don't know, everything blends together, and everything is 15 years ago now to me, and I honestly don't know how long ago it was, but let's call it 15 years ago, where I had to go bump a group. I knew their exit strategy because I'd been in there a couple of times in the summer and seen where they like to exit this bowl. And when they're in the bowl, it wasn't necessarily stalkable. The wind was too switchy. There was a lot of micro topography that you could move around in, but way too much, too many changes in the wind. So anyway, I just told my friend, I was like, you go post up right over here, sit there. I'm going to drop in, and it was a hike. I'm going to get in the bottom of the basin, and they're going to exit right where they always exit. So you just sit there and relax. And I got in the bottom of the basin, and I got a little too aggressive in my drive. And so these deer, they exit almost up a cliff, like it was a cliff. Like I've always said that I think I can go where mule deer go. No, that's not true. Because these deer exited like something that you would look at and you would never think a deer could hop up at 100%, because I pushed them a little too hard, just thinking, hey, I'm going to speed this thing up. But what happened, going back to the point, is I thought they were exiting somewhere different. So I was waving my friend down, and he was coming down. There's like oak brush, cliffs, and he came down from where they were going to exit, or where they always exit. Those deer went straight up the cliff, and once they got there, they actually went up and took their same path out of the country that they always take, even though I moved them out of that basin, probably 100 yards below where I had always seen them go in and out of the basin. It was really kind of, to me, it looked like it was locked. There was only one or two places they could go in and out. Well, they ended up going out in a different place, but they weren't comfortable going through that stuff on their way out. So literally with a 10-foot wall of oak brush between them and my friend, he didn't even see him. They walked right past him and walked right past where he was stationed on their exit route. So I was like, oh, that was interesting. I've witnessed that several times since.
Yeah.
Knowing where mule deer go in and out of certain little pockets and then bumping them, and seeing that regardless of where they exited, they ultimately got back to a certain pattern that they were comfortable with, because they knew, I don't know if they know the route, they're just comfortable, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So I think that seeing that type of behavior on several occasions with deer that are under duress further confirms kind of what you're talking about with where they like to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm tying a lot of loose ends together there that probably could be pulled apart with real science, but that's observation.
Yeah. No, it's super interesting. So let's say you have a high country deer tag, and let's say you have 15 days of vacation time. Mm-hmm. How is Justin Gordon going to allot 15 days for a high country mule deer hunt?
Yeah, I still like to get in a day early, at least maybe sometimes two, just to make sure. So unfortunately, not all of that will be with a tag in my pocket, but I like to be there and make sure that everything's locked down, that the situation hasn't changed since my last scouting trip, and be able to get in position, because the earlier you can get it done, and I've kind of proven this to myself over the years, the earlier you can take advantage of your scouting and the earlier you can get in and make the kill, the higher the probability, in my opinion.
Okay, so why do you think that is? Just like you're sharper, maybe mentally, physically, your scent hasn't been all through the area. Why do you think you're more effective front half of the hunt versus back half?
I just think that invariably, as time goes on, and a lot of this has to do with archery season, right? Because you pointed out, I mean, with most of the archery seasons that I hunt, they're rubbing sometimes a week after the opener.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2 weeks after the opener. But they move down a little bit. Their patterns change a little bit. The days we're like losing a minute of daylight on each side every single day that time of year. The days are getting shorter. And I kind of feel like deer don't necessarily go nocturnal as much as their patterns stay the same. The sun's just reducing the window of time that we have to watch them. So I think it has more to do with where they are in the velvet that time of year, the number of daylight hours that we have, and just the more days that, unless you're hunting on the Wasatch Front where it's full time, like all the time, everybody's there. The more days that go by, the more likelihood that somebody's just going to wander in aimlessly that hasn't found what they're looking for somewhere else, and they don't even know what they're walking into, and they blow everything out, and they're none the wiser.
Yeah.
Right. So just too many variables come into play as the hunt drags on. I think that my feelings about that are more related to, again, early season archery than anything else. But I had people that wander out of where they wanted to hunt, just kind of aimlessly walking ridges, skyline themselves on the 5th day of the hunt because they don't know what I'm looking at, and they have no idea where they're at and what's below them, and they bugger up the hunt for the day or more.
Yeah.
Right. So all of those things come into play to make me feel a lot more confident. And if I look back, the more aggressive I am earlier, it seems like the more successful I can be.
Yeah, that's interesting because I know in like our earlier podcasts we've done together, you always talk about the probability of getting in killing range of the deer. So like Justin has been known sometimes to be teased a little bit about having like perfection paralysis, or just like I don't even know how to say it. His patience and is pretty remarkable, and I think that that's something to take away for a lot of younger hunters or newer hunters, especially me myself. Like I'll go into a unit, and if I glass up a buck that gets me excited, and it's in a 75% chance getting in killing range, most of the time I'm running, you know?
Yeah.
But I know you operate a little different. Kind of walk me through, you find a deer that you want to hang your tag on. First time you've seen it, how are you reacting?
I've made enough mistakes going in fast, getting in too close in the wrong situation, that now everything that everyone's heard it before, right? There are times when you move really fast and times when you move really slow, and there's no in between. When you're going on a stalk, I really feel like you're either at full speed or you're crawling. There's very rarely those opportunities other than when you're gassed, when you're somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Because I've watched a lot of good friends go on stalks where they're taking way too much time to get around a little feature, thinking they're going to bump deer 400 yards away. And the amount of time they spend dawdling over here gives the deer the time to move up, and everything's changed by the time they get over there, and they've missed their opportunity. And I've watched, that's the most common thing that I see from archery hunters, is being too careful at the wrong time and losing the opportunity that's 400 yards away from you, right? So yeah, if I'm in that situation, everyone has heard it before. It's entirely wind dependent. It's shadow dependent. I think, anecdotes are a good way to go. Perfect example on a good deer. I mean, anytime you get into the mid 190s without any extras, that's a great deer, right? So I'm hunting this deer several years ago. I'd missed a couple of opportunities on him just because it didn't come together, right? Not blowing him out. And I ended up, this was a situation that the wind was perfect. I watched him walk into some cover, and I didn't watch him walk out. And I had no idea where he had bedded. But here's this pocket, right? So I came in and wrapped around and above where I had last seen him, and I felt like I was somewhere in that 30 to 50 yard range of where I had watched him walk in. And I knew he had to be somewhere probably within 60 yards of me, and I couldn't see him. But the wind was straight in my face, and I was standing up on a rock looking like this, and then it flattened out just a little bit. So I'm looking straight down, 90-degree angle, and it not flattens out, but there's a little bit of a run out below me, still very steep. And I was like, well, don't know if anything came out of here, and I'm committed. And I've done this a lot in different situations where the wind is right, so I'm going to sit here until the sun goes down. And we've all heard the stories, right? But it's doing it in that situation and not telling yourself to bail or telling yourself to drop off the rock and go walk through there or whatever the heck you tell yourself, right? So in that situation, I sat there for hours. I know my legs were numb because once I got up on that rock, I was like, every single tree looked like an antler tine popping out from behind a bush, right? Because I had no idea where he was, if he could see me, if he was just holding tight. And sure enough, right as soon as the sun dropped low enough on the horizon that whole hillside was in shadows because of the mountains. I mean, it wasn't 2 minutes, and he walked out 36 yards below me. He was bedded within 40 yards the entire time. I couldn't see him, and he couldn't see me. And he walked out, and I was so stunned, and the bottom half of my legs were numb. Like literally, my feet up to above my calves just felt numb because once I got there, I was like, I really can't move because I could screw this up. So I was looped up, and I just stood there. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it was a long time. Well over an hour. I don't remember the details. I'd have to go back through my journal. And there he was. So much. I was so stunned that he walked out, and I just kind of like range, and I put my rangefinder down, and I'm sitting there, and he does what all deer do right after he walks out of his bed, takes about 5 steps. And at this point, he's right below me. I'm looped up, and he does his business right there, right? And I'm like, wait a second. He's standing broadside at 36 yards. I need to shoot an arrow.
Yeah.
Like I just wasn't. And so fortunately, he turned his head, looked down. I drew. And so the answer to your question is what everyone's heard before. If you have cover of sound and cover of motion, you probably should be running to your next position. And if you don't have that, then you're either still or not moving if they can hear you or see you. And if there's wind, then you shouldn't be anywhere in the area if the wind is wrong, right? Everyone knows that. But when you get in the heat of the situation, you start to doubt what you're doing.
Well, you start to be like, I might get lucky enough. Like, it's blowing a little towards him, but maybe this ridge will carry it down this side.
Yeah, no, that's the funny thing. It's not about knowing what to do. I think everyone's heard enough or done enough that they know what to do. I think it's being confident enough to do it in the situation. Just staying true to what you know and keeping on course. And then you literally have done everything you can with the variables that are in your control. And after that, you just have to be good with how it plays out.
So going back a little bit, you said that you had several close encounters without blowing them out. Were those stalks like inside of 100 yards and you just backed out? Like,
well, so one of those, interestingly enough, on that particular deer, I earlier in the week I had a friend of mine up above, and these deer kind of pattern. We know which way they were going to bed.
Yeah.
And I went down and I tucked myself in on a rock, and they were just working their way across this hillside. And this is steep stuff. And I've got a rock right here, and I'm just tucked in behind it. I'm like, okay, they could walk by me anywhere they could be inside of 5 yards when they clear that right there.
Dang.
So I'm just going to sit here. And my friend's way up above, and he starts throwing rocks because he feels like they're going a different direction. Going back to what I said earlier, in real time, deer kind of do this thing right here, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you know where they're going and you have the right wind,
They're likely going there.
they're going there.
Yeah.
So my friend's throwing rocks, and I look way up, and I can't even tell what he's doing. So I grab my binos, and I look up at him, and he's like giving me hand signals. So now I'm all confused. So I keep some rocks between me and the deer that are coming this way, and I scramble up, and I get up around and literally go, I think if I remember right, somehow I got directions from my friend. Oh, it was all hand signals and everything. So then he goes like this, and I settle down, and no joke, those deer go just like this, and then they go back down around, and they all walk 10 yards from the rock that I was sitting behind. And by that time I was like, because he thought they were coming up. That's what the situation was. By that time, I was 80 plus yards away, and they were just moving their way. And had I just stayed with my original plan,
Yeah.
right? So that was one of the times that I missed him.
Dang.
But going back, I mean, I think it all tells the same theme that we're on at the moment, which is if you have enough intel, just be confident. If the wind is right, stay the course. If it works out, it works out. The every time I've ever screwed things up, it's by second guessing myself and trying to overdo it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I think that's a wealth of knowledge for first.
I think everyone knows it. It's just doing it when it counts.
Yeah, but it's one thing hearing it from people or seeing it on YouTube. It's another thing getting like a testimony from somebody who's killed multiple giant deer with his bow. So
I can think of multiple 190 plus inch bucks that aren't dead that taught me all the lessons that we just really, I can think of this deer right now that's like everything that I just told you, I did it the wrong way. I got in a perfect position. Here's a story for you. I hope people like stories. So it's kind of tough to get in position on these deer because of what they occupy. There's not as much microtopography. So I'm playing everything right. And I'm like hundreds of yards away from them, 800, 900 yards away from them. And I see them working their way towards this kind of area that over multiple days, once they get past a certain point, they'll keep right on going and drop off into this bedding area. And once they're there, forget about it.
Yeah.
The hunt's over for the day. So I get into position. I drop my boots. The wind is right. That was the other thing, is getting into position based on where they were, and I won't try to describe it all. It all worked. I dropped my boots, and I'm like, I'm just going to walk right around this little kind of shelf, and there's some deadfall and some stuff here, and then I'll pop up, and I'll be back up, and it was almost right at timberline. So they're up above timberline, and I'm wrapping around, and then I got there, and I was like, well, I should keep going that way towards them just in case they drop off in the middle between where I drop my boots, where I think they're going, and right? So I don't know anything that goes on, but all I know is I get busy doing my new game plan. I pop up over a half hour later and there are no deer anywhere, right? Because it takes a second to move when you're inside of the range that I was talking about. Again, screwing that up. And anyway, I get my boots on. I get all the way back up to the ridge. And I finally bump into the guy that I'd left up on top of the ridge. And he's like, dude, the buck that I wanted to shoot walked over and sniffed my boots and blew. Stuck his nose in my boots.
Holy smokes.
He's like, I was watching from the ridge, and the entire time I knew where you had planned to go sit, and I just took my boots off because I wanted to be mobile if I had to be. And he's like, I was expecting an arrow to come out of that timber and kill that deer like for 15 minutes. And then it got over to where your boots were and was gone.
Holy smokes.
And that deer, I genuinely believe he was a cool deer. I genuinely believe he was above 195.
Dang.
So I have a quick question.
Yeah.
As somebody who's so off kind of topic of that, but like, as somebody who struggles with this constantly, and I struggle walking people in constantly with, it completely looks different once you're there.
Oh yeah.
How do you like, is it just strictly landmarkers? Is it, because like a story that comes to mind is a buck last year that I watched 3 or 4 times with Matt, an opening day in Utah. I walked him in, and it was funny. Like, I was sitting at the same glassing knob. The buck had 3 beds that he'd bed in every day. One of those 3. And by 8 a.m. opening morning, he was bedded. And the wind was perfect, howling straight up. The sun's hot. And Matt got, like, I was waiting and waiting and waiting. And then pretty soon, Matt's like radioing me like, dude, where is he? And I finally saw Matt, and he was only 26 yards above the buck.
No, yeah, that
just
story's frustrating because
I didn't see him because he moved so fast. That's the fast you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I was expecting him to come over the ridge, but he crossed it so fast I never saw him. I was so focused on watching the buck that finally when he's like, dude, where is he? I was scanning him, and I go back to the buck, and it's like Buck and Matt. And I'm like, holy cow, dude. Like, I was like, he's right below
We got to
you.
get the facts straight here. Jed, I'm up on the ridge forever, and Jed still can't pick me up. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to start working down because it opens up a little as I start working off the ridge. And I even have my phone like trying to reflect the sunlight towards Jed, just like, dude, pick me up. He could not see me. And finally, he sees me and he's like, "Oh, dude, you look like you're like 80 yards above the buck, but you're right above him." I'm like, "Oh, sweet." And like you're saying, this hillside is just straight up and down shale, right? And at this point, I have like my stocking shoes on and everything. And I literally go to like straddle this little like shale creek, I don't know, avalanche chute. And I go to step across it and I'm like mid splits. And right below me is this buck, like 20, it was like 21 yards. And I'm mid splits, shale kind of rolling, rocks rolling and like almost hitting him, little rocks, and he's just not moving. And I'm in the splits with an arrow knocked, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this sucks so bad. Because I legit was like full on splits, and I knew if I picked up either foot, he was gone. And luckily I had an arrow knocked, but I can only see his antlers and like his butt, and I'm just like sitting there. And I tried sitting there for like 4 or 5 minutes, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna just like fall. So I was like, oh, he won't hear me, you know. Try and take a step forward to where I could have just laced him in his bed. And just poof. And it's like, oh my goodness. But yeah, going back to Jed's question,
because it looked way different to you.
Yeah. How many times when you're getting walked in on a deer do you totally just discount what that guy's saying and just be like, no, I know in my brain this is where I need to be, versus the guy above you like, oh, you got 200 more yards? Because I can think of 3 or 4 times where I've been hosed on deer because I'm relying too much on the guy walking me in that I just get too close.
So here's what I've done, because there've been, I can think of 2 situations right now. I haven't always had radios.
Yeah.
I've always thought they would be a game changer, but it's always worked out that when I'm finally in the situation, I don't have someone with a radio, or we don't have radios, right? But in 2 situations that I've had them, just I've seen what you're describing enough. The only thing I want to know from the person with the radio is the deer there?
Yeah.
Period. Has it moved? And if it hasn't, based on shooter's position, is it 12, 6, 8 o'clock? Because I've been able to help my friend a couple of times where I'm looking, like I have a video where I'm like, you know what? Through the spotting scope, digiscoping, it looks like he's forever away. And I even have it recorded. I'll bet you he's inside of 60 yards right now. We're going to see him knock an arrow and go. And sure enough, he pulls back and shoots this deer. And if you're looking at it from distance, you're like, what is he doing? But if you've seen it enough, you know, okay, you can do some measurements, look at his body height, and you're like, he's within 60 yards right there. But most spotters don't have that experience.
Yeah.
And in that moment, it's like, all I want to know is the deer there are gone. So the 2 times that I've used a radio, I can tell you the last confirmation I got was take my boots off. Yep, the deer's still there. Click, I turn the radio off. I want to know nothing that they're seeing because their perspective is so jacked up.
Yeah.
Compared to me there, as long as I know he's there and I have my landmark, right? And landmarks are an interesting thing because I've whiffed on those many times, right?
Yeah.
But it goes back to take your pictures, do your homework, be patient, and don't second guess yourself. I think we do that. I think that's the worst thing we do as archery hunters when we're on a mule deer stalk or anything else, is we are constantly second guessing ourselves. Should I go? Shouldn't I go? Should I wait for the wind? Should I not? Is the wind, like you said, oh, the wind just hit my back for a second. Did it make it all the way to him, or is there enough wind coming up that my scent didn't make it? If you feel the wind at your back constantly, it's probably already too late if you're in the middle of if you're in a close encounter. But reality, stay your course, have confidence. I've turned the radio off both times because I do not want that person in my ear telling me what's going on.
All right, moving on. Gear.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and I kind of want to run through kind of the big three things I'll call it like hunting equipment, sleeping system, camp setup, and then kind of just my go-tos I have to have, whether that's water filter, stove, I don't know, certain foods, creature comfort. So 3 categories. Let's start with, run through real quick, like your favorite, like 60 seconds or less, your favorite boots, outerwear, your bow, optics. Run down that list real quick.
I'll just go with what you just said. I wish I would have brought my Excel spreadsheet because my favorite boots are still the best trail runners I can get with gaiters. I've gone back to just running Solomon. If I can get them in a wide.
Yeah.
This summer I've been scouting with some Vivo Barefoots.
Mm-hmm.
You got to build your feet up for those. I like to do that, but those things, I love the feel of everything under my feet. I love the dexterity that I have, the proprioception that gives me. But I did 25 miles in 2 days on my last scouting trip, and my feet felt like they had been literally through a meat tenderizer. It was bad because I hadn't built up to it. But I just like lightweight, really active type of boots. I mean, unless you're throwing crampons on, I know you guys probably have a boot company and everything, but I think the boot thing is just a whole lot of really and even to an extent, because there are dissenting opinions within podiatry about insoles. So you can pick which bandwagon you want to be on, but for me personally, I think the boot thing is way over marketed. And I think the more proprioception and the lighter the boot, the better. I don't stub my toe. I don't stumble. I can move through nasty terrain so much better. Like those Vivo Barefoot boots. Sorry, that's supposed to be 60 seconds. I went on a boot.
No, you're good.
But so I like lightweight boots. I've ran all the boots. I've tried heavy, stiff boots, all the above, and everyone gives me the rationale for why. But I think if you properly build your ankles and your feet, the lighter the boot, the better. Anyway. And I think the only person that I talk to that agrees with me, and I use his name, and I hope properly because I really do look up to him, is Randy Ulmer.
Yeah.
He and I have talked about boots a lot, and we feel the same way. Let's go to, and I drop his name to give me some credibility. It's probably the wrong thing, but whatever. That's boots. Going up. Base layers, it's still the same. I've gotten kind of lazy, right? I found a camouflage pattern that I have confidence in. So I've worn the same thing since I've originally got it, 4 or 5 years ago. I like all the new mid layers that they have out right now, the active layers. Definitely always having one of those new active layers that they have out that you can wear 80% of the time without taking them off, and then always have a puffy layer. But I've kept it pretty lightweight that way. Not a lot of extra layers, not a lot of extra stuff.
So when you go on one of these backpacking trips, are you a type of guy that takes 2 pair of socks, 1 pair of pants, 1 base layer shirt, 1 mid layer, 1 puffy?
So nope, because a lot of times I've had horse packers or llamas or things like that. So if a horse packer's taking camp in, or if we have llamas or anything like that, then I'm going to throw an extra pair of pants in. Yeah. 3 or 4 extra pair of socks, because I always like nice clean socks. Yeah. Things like that. For my scouting trips, I've got what I've got on, and I dirt bag it as many days as I need to. There's no extra gear in I have 1 pair of pants on, 1 base layer shirt on, 1 active layer insulation in the backpack, 1 puffy layer in the backpack, and the lightest rain layer I can get in my backpack. And that's my kit for scouting. And if I ever have to go, like last year, didn't have a horse packer. I came out, spent a week at work, and then went back in with my 2 boys. Similar situation. There weren't extra clothes in the backpack. It was just food and gear. And I've tried a lot of the backpacks. I have defaulted to the one that you guys, the K4.
The XO, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, I really like that.
What cubic inch do you run the 5,000?
Yeah, because it's way overkill for scouting, and it's way overkill even almost at 9 days. Yeah. But I can cinch it down. It's so well designed. I can cinch it down and make it work for every situation. So I genuinely have 1 pack that will work for everything. Yeah. I don't have to worry about it. It'd be nice to have extra packs like the 2,000 or 2,200 or whatever for scouting and stuff. Yeah. But,
and then what are you running for optics? Like what magnification, what brand, bino harness?
So this is a change because I've got the marsupial bino harness, but their crap is so overbuilt. I want to rip the buckles off. The reason I like the marsupial the most is because of the side pouches. Yeah. It fits everything that I want to have on me. my dislikes with the marsupial or it's just, dude, I'm not carrying chest plates. I don't need 1-inch webbing and freaking buckles that I could tow this trailer with.
Yeah.
For shit's sake, a pair of binoculars.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, I like the marsupial. So I run the marsupial. I'm trying to figure out how I can jury rig a different harness system onto my marsupial front. This year game changer, you know this, those SIGs, the 14s.
Yeah.
The new ones this year with the dual batteries.
The stabilizing ones.
Yeah, the stabilizing binoculars. So a couple of trips this year, I've had my son pack my Swarovski NL Pures. I've had my SIGs around my chest because there's nothing like picking those up and being able to see things. And then I've got a spotter. And for high country mule deer use case, if I'm not sitting behind a pair of binoculars trying to find, and I've never coos deer hunted, so I'm using this example, but if I'm not sitting behind a pair of binoculars for 12 hours a day trying to find an antler tie-in somewhere, I don't know how the SIGs would perform in that use case.
Yeah.
But for my use case of trying to find animals in the high country, the trade-offs of giving up the NL Pures and packing the 14s are well worth it.
Yeah.
The optic quality isn't such that I'm going to whiff on things if I need to hunker down in glass. Although I will say it's a little different. The SIGs seem to give off a different vibe with the heat waves and stuff.
I've noticed that.
The image stabilizing kind of plays with you a little bit that way. It's not as pure. But when a scouting trip this year, we're 400 yards away and I see some deer moving through some brush and I'm on the move. I stop. I'm breathing heavy. I throw those SIGs up and that fast, I'm like 3-point, shooter 4-point, and a little 2x3.
Yeah.
There's no pair of binoculars in the world at 400 yards that I can do that with unless they're sitting on a tripod.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
The SIGs. And then, yeah, I run the Tricer tripod and head. But that's
your kit.
Yeah. What else? Sleeping bag. I just try to keep it light. I wish I should have brought my spreadsheet because then I could just jam through it because I've always ran I overkill it with a 15-degree Marmot helium. That bag's probably 16, 18 years old now. So I finally just replaced it this year with a Ceta Summit. And it has the same temperature rating. And it's like 8 ounces lighter. It's like, I think it's like 22 or 24 ounces.
Dang.
For like this is an 18-degree rated bag. Weight to warmth, if it holds up, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I just ordered the new Argali 20-degree. Mm-hmm. It's 20 ounces, I believe, with a pillow sleeve and everything. So I'm excited to test that one out.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I tried a few things. I tried to go back to a bivy sack this year on a few scouting trips. That's not going to make it to hunting season.
Yeah.
I'm someone who I realized this summer why I haven't slept in a bivy sack for 14 or 15 years.
I remember you were saying how stoked you were because your bivvy's 9 ounces and your tarp, or vice versa, your tarp was 10 ounces. And you're like, oh, it's sub 20 ounces for, the bivvy and the tarp. And then you've gone on a couple scouting trips and you're like, yeah, I'm packing the extra 15, 20 ounces for a tent type of thing.
It's nice to be able to get into the inner of the tent and relax when you need to. Like crawling into a bivvy and then sleeping in it, that's okay. But like getting out to go pee in the middle of the night, whatever you've got to do, it's just not that convenient.
Yeah.
When you're accustomed to what I'm accustomed to. So yeah, I think for better sleep and everything else, I'll pack the extra ounces. There are other areas that I, shaved some ounces off my pack this year significantly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exciting. I leveled up and I just got the Argali Rincon, the 2-person, their new Dyneema.
How much is that weigh? That's probably nothing.
Yeah, it's like, I gotta look. It's sub 20 ounces for a 2-person tent.
Can you get an inner for it?
Yeah, so I have a half inner.
I like that.
So half of it's the webbing, so it's half the weight, and then I can have basically a giant vestibule or run a stove if I want. But I go back and forth. For the longest time, I was floorless for life. And then I did one hunt in Nevada where the ants were everywhere, no matter where I could go. And I didn't sleep for like 7 days because ants were literally crawling on me all hours of the night.
Yeah, dude.
So I don't know. I've gone kind of full circle. So I kind of enjoy the floorless space and ease it is to set up and take down.
Yeah.
But I do think I'm probably going to take that inner tent or webbing or whatever, keep it in the pack. I know that's stupid, but it's like if the bugs aren't bad, I might just sleep without it. But if the bugs are bad, I'll pull out the 8 or 10 ounces or whatever that inner is. I don't know.
Well, I know after my experiences this summer, there's no doubt in my mind I'll pack the extra weight. And even because I do plan on being more mobile this year, being a little more dynamic in the backcountry. And even with that, the extra takedown and setup, it's worth it for everything you just described. There are just so many situations where being inside of that inner tent gives you a little bit more of a sanctuary where I think the sleep is better.
Yeah.
For me,
I
guess I'm not as tough as a lot of people, and I don't want to rough it that much.
Yeah. No, I mean, the technology has come so far that it's like you don't have to rough it that hard. Like, so what tent are you going to run? I know you've messed around with the Durston a little bit.
Yep.
Are you sticking with that or?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to that because every time, also this year, I went back and I was like, let's see if we can dig out this old Big Agnes Platinum. I don't know which one it is.
Yep.
It's really light.
Yep.
It's supposed to be a 2-man, but it's a 1-man.
That's
tent.
been my most used tent is a Big Agnes Copper Spur Platinum.
And this one is the Fly Creek, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
With the front entry. Like, nope, that's not going to make it. So the most comfortable tent for the weight, and it's a really nice setup. The footprint, the design of the Durston X Mid is crazy.
Yeah.
It really is a cool tent. And I've ran it for the last couple of years, and I'll just be back to that because from a weight to footprint to
square footage
and just comfort, man, you can't beat it.
Yeah. I've been real tempted just because the only downfall with a TP is the center pole.
Well, the center pole and just the you lose so much square footage on the edges where you know there's no space. Because I've loved the idea of a TP, but again, for me, if I'm going to pack that weight, I like the walls and the setup of the Durston combines all of those elements.
Yeah,
as if more effectively than any other tent I've used.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah, I've never seen one in person, so I have to check yours out.
Just come down to the house. We'll throw it up in the front yard.
I know that they've recently come out with like their X-Mid Pro, so their Dyneema versions that are like 40% lighter or whatever.
And I like their self-standing that they came out with this year. I'm just not ready to buy another tent right now. But
yeah.
For a self-standing tent, it's supposedly the same footprint. And for how much I like the X-Mid, I think that their new freestanding, yeah.
I haven't seen their freestanding. I was looking at all the Z-Pack ones, and Z-Pack has a trekking pole pitched one that's like 9 ounces, one person, and then they have a freestanding one that's like 20 ounces. Big 2-person tent. So
I have that Z-Pack tarp. That it's not really a tarp because it's really easy to pitch with a single trekking.
It's shaped like a tent.
It has a structure.
Yeah.
And it weighs 6 ounces. And because I'm going to have my trekking poles to pitch my X-Mid, I'm really tempted to throw the extra 6 ounces in for the hunt because more often than not, I find myself in some sort of a storm glassing, trying to stay on a deer.
Well, the question is like, could you drop your rain gear and take that? Probably save 6 or 10 ounces.
Yeah. If I weren't ever having to move,
yeah,
the rain gear comes in handy in a lot of situations. But yeah, that's the whole point. Is I'm thinking about adding that because at least once a year, I'm stuck sitting in rain gear, sitting out in the open, just getting drenched while I try to keep eyes on an animal to make sure it doesn't relocate or do something while it's raining.
Yeah.
And if I could just hang out under that tarp for 3 or 4 hours, pretty comfortable.
That would be sweet. I use my rain jacket for about everything other than rain protection. I use it as like a little bedding when I take a midday nap. I'll lay it out, kick out a deer bed, lay it on top of there and kind of curl up. And then, because I always keep my rain jacket in my pack. And then when I get back to camp at night, especially with these lighter weight tents, the footprint is so thin. I'm terrified. So I always lay my rain jacket under my sleeping pad on like the high impact areas where I'll get on and off the pad just as an extra layer. It gives me peace of mind, probably a little R value too, but yeah, I use my rain jacket for everything, man.
What are you guys? I mean, I've been a little bit asleep at the wheel. I think as far as gear is concerned, I think you guys are probably way more up to speed on the latest and greatest. Like I just barely came around to getting myself one of those little 2-ounce pumps to pump up my sleeping pads.
Oh yeah.
Like
the flex tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. The flex tail's legit. I use it. 1, pumping up your pad, and 2, as your little tent lantern.
Yeah.
That thing on the dim setting will last a 5-day hunt. And
really?
yeah, especially now with how good some of these 30 amp solar panels are. You can take one. I like the Nightcore 20,000 milliamp carbon battery pack, and then a 30 amp. I use an Anchor right now. I have dark energy ones that I've tested side by side. I think the dark energy ones are even lighter, so I need to do some more testing. But one battery pack and one 30 amp solar panel, I mean, infinite power, and that's coming from a guy with cameras, you know.
Yeah.
So you're pretty set. Anything new that you can think of, Jed, as far as like the tech or creature comforts?
Yeah, I mean, I finally got an inflatable pad this year.
Yeah, Jed.
Yeah, my whole life I could sleep anywhere. I always stuck with a Nemo switchback.
Yeah.
Weighs half the weight. Never worry about it popping. But I did a mule deer hunt last year solo, and I camped 4 nights. And I'm just getting older.
You can't sleep anywhere anymore?
Oh man, my back started really hurting towards day 3, and so finally this year on a couple bear hunts, I decided to get a new inflatable pad, and I got the Nemo Tensor. That's a big upgrade. I have some R value now. I moved to a quilt now. I don't use a sleeping bag anymore, and that quilt.
You run that Zen bivy?
Mm-hmm. I run a Zen
That's
bivy,
nice.
20 degree with the ultralight sheet, so it doesn't have the down hood. It's a silk hood, but I ran it on our 5-day bear hunt. I ran it on a 2-day backpacking trip with Casey this spring. So I've been in it 7 nights, and it is
You like it?
very comfortable. I just like the versatility because there was a night where Casey and I were out and it got cold. It had rained that day. And then we got back in the tent, and just like those post-spring rain nights up in the high country, like it's cold.
Yeah.
And before, like a few nights before, and like when me and Matt went, like that quilt, I could have my leg out. I could use it as a blanket. But on that particular night, I was able to just hook the lightweight loops, and I was completely closed in under the hood.
Yep.
Way warm. And so I love it. I think the weight, I think the versatility, it's really hard to beat. Now I'm really kicking myself for buying it when I did, now that they just came out with their ultra light bag. I think I'm probably going to upgrade to that because you can have a 10 degree that's the same weight as my light bed, my 20 degree.
No kidding.
So I think I'm going to go that route. But yeah, I run a floorless Nemo, always have. They don't make it anymore, the Apollo 3. I just run just the shell and a trekking pole.
You guys are tougher than I am.
Jed's always been that way. I remember a time when we were shed hunting when they had a closure here in Utah, and we were stupid. We were hiking at 11 p.m. The opener started at midnight, so we're like, we'll hike up, get to where we want to be, and then sleep for an hour. And we were sleeping on snow on like a 30-degree slope with a tarp, a full-size like yard tarp.
Just sledding?
Oh yeah, I was sliding, and we stopped on this like mahogany tree, and I'm keeping my legs straight to keep us pinned up. And Jed snored forever. He was somehow just passed out, and he's always been that way. Anytime we go hunting, he's snoring before I can even get in my sleeping bag. And I'll wake up freezing, tossing, turning, or uncomfortable, and I have to wake Jed up. And he's like, man, I slept good. I've always been jealous of Jed. Eric's that way too.
No kidding.
No, I've definitely, I definitely have that trait. And especially now, like I have a pillow now. That's huge. Never ran a pillow for hundreds of nights in the backcountry.
Dude.
Just would sleep on my arm on a switchback pad with a old sleeping bag. And now, like, I have a pillow. I have an Outdoor Vital pillow. It's 1 ounce, I think. It's killer. But, yeah, I love it. That Nemo, I had Matt get me the narrow one because I don't need a big, wide luxury pad. I'd rather cut weight and go narrow, 18 degrees.
Dang, man.
I can't tell if this is
That's how I would like to. That's how I would like to run.
I hope I can stay that way for a little while now that I've upgraded my sleep system. But I think I really want to get that Z-Packs 1-man tarp. I think if I got that and got the Zenbivy Ultralight with the setup I have now, I think my camping weight would be right at about 3.
You can go the way I want to go. Every time I try it, I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to work for me. I have to pack the extra weight.
Same.
I've heard it from Steve Speck from XO. I've heard it from Brady Miller when he used to do the bar diet, not even pack.
A stove.
And like, they always say, like, those guys who are like true ultralight backpack hunters, they always say, like, don't pack your fears. Like, worst case scenario, you're not more than 8 hours from the truck.
Yeah.
You pack up and you hike out. But then you hear guys like wild stories of accidents happening, this kind of thing. Like, you need to be prepared. But like, to me, like, really, like, if I can't sleep, I'll just hike out, sleep at the truck, and hike back. Like, I'm just not that worried about my sleep system. Like, I never have been. Like, if I'm not sleeping great, then
That was my mentality till one time shed hunting with Eric in February. I thought I was dying, dude. I was in like a big Agnes Lost Dog, a 15-degree synthetic bag. And I was up every 30 minutes boiling water in my jet boil and putting it in my Nalgene and curling up against it. Like,
You're freezing that.
dude, I've never been that cold in my life. And that day I got home, I invested in a nice 0-degree bag, and I've been messing with sleeping bags ever since. And that was 5 years ago. But
yeah, it's weird because, like, we're all hunters, right? But I think the thru hikers like Zenbivy, Durston,
Yeah.
Six Moon Design, like these companies, Big Agnes, dude, they have it figured out. And I'll sit and watch like dudes do the whole thru hike through the Pacific, and it's just like, dude, those guys are taking 25 inches of a Nemo switchback, 3 ounces. They're taking an ultralight tarp. They're taking a Zenbivy quilt, no sheet. And they're cold soaking their food. And their base weight with their clothes, their gadgets, everything is hanging around 8 to 9 pounds. Their whole pack.
Yeah.
And granted, they're not packing a bow. They're not packing a rifle. They're not packing optics. But like, I've even like, I really want to try, like, if I do a solo hunt or go with people, I really want to try cold soaking, like, to minimize the stove. Like, just take the Tupperware with some ramen and pack, like, have a water filter. But I'm just super interested in, like, dude, those guys hike for 6 months out of the year with that setup.
I like to enjoy my time out there.
And I get that. Like, I see the comfort. Like, you can hunt better if you sleep better, right? Like, I think that. But, like, when you can sleep really good on, like, a ultra lightweight setup, it can help to, like, push your ultralight mindset. But I don't know.
I like the idea of it in application, like, genuinely, for you, that bivvy with the tarp that I was running this summer, you'd love that thing. For me, I was like, the extra ounces will be great.
Yeah, I like to be able to sit up and like move around and get dressed and undressed and look at camera gear and I like having the space.
Yeah.
What bivvy do you run? The Hyperlight?
No, it's Bora.
Bora?
They're out of Montana.
That's cool.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hyperlight just came out with a new one that's wild. I want to get it. It's super light.
Dude.
A Dyneema bivvy. It's way light.
No, not anymore, man. This summer was the last hurrah. I will tell you, though, you remember before, well, I wasn't aware of better backpacks. So this is like a long, long time ago. I had what's the name of that backpack? Badlands backpack.
Yeah.
Right? And it had that big foam back. I don't think it had a frame in it.
It was probably the Super Day pack.
No, because I was in the backcountry. It was like it was a big pack.
They had
anyway,
yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'll just use this as my sleeping pad. It worked. I would just take everything out of my backpack, throw it on the ground, and just so basically from the waist down, I didn't have anything on the ground.
That's so rad.
Well, I was 15, 20 years younger than I am now, whatever it was. It was a long time ago.
That's
That
crazy.
didn't seem to bother me too much back then.
Yeah, not me. Not me. I was pretty solid, and then I had a surgery on my neck and everything, and I even take a wide flipping Thermarest X-Therm pad that's this thick. The wide.
What do you do for a pillow?
Oh, I've messed around with 100 pillows. You turned me on to the little commercial guy, the My Pillow.
Yeah.
My daughter got one of those for Christmas from my grandma one time and never used it, so I got that. And then I have a Nemo inflatable pillow that I stuff behind that so it can give me the loft I need. But I have to sleep perfectly on my back, and my hands have to be the same elevation as my hips, or else
It messes with you.
it messes with me. And
So-
that's
so-
been my sleep journey.
Similarly, because I have a Stone Glacier quilt. It's a phenomenal quilt. Love that thing.
Mm-hmm.
But for the way I sleep, it just doesn't work. And I'm not comfortable in mummy bags by any stretch of the imagination. I'm way more comfortable in the quilt. But cool spots, when I don't have even temperature throughout, when I have a cold spot somewhere,
Yeah, too much space.
yeah, it bothers me.
Yep.
And you can fix all of that. It's just you can use a quilt the right way, which I haven't done, but it's a quilt something that I'm like, yeah, just the way I sleep, it's easier for me to just curl up in a sleeping bag. That pillow, the My Pillow, the mini My Pillow, like I even took that on one of my scouting trips this summer. I was like, screw it, I'm taking the weight. Slept so much better.
No, I'm excited. I gotta look at this.
That's where the Zen Bivy, man. Like I was always so nervous about a quilt. Like I'm in a freeze, and like I'm a comfortable sleeper, but I was so nervous. And then watching Dan Becker and these through hikers and everybody, I was like, dude, like Zen Bivy has a sheet that when it's cold, the sides literally come up and loop to the quilt and makes it a whole bed.
Nice.
And so that to me just like sold it. And like hearing like these dudes who literally backpack for a living saying like, this is the best bed like we've ever used, using Sea to Summit, Big Agnes, like all of them. And so I tried it, and I got one of their cheaper options, and dude, it's still like, granted, I was using a Badlands Cinder 15 degree for the last 10 years, like a super tight mummy bag. And now I'm like free. I can hang a leg out. I could pull it tight. I could lay on my side, pull it up on me. Like, but it's so comfortable.
a new pillow that just dropped. Our Golly dropped the name of it is the Elite Dream Backcountry Pillow.
I heard about that.
It's been sold out everywhere. I was talking to Brad Brooks today, texting him. I'm like, dude, when is that pillow coming back? Like, I need it because I probably have 20 pillows in my gear closet. Like, huge pillow guy, but I'm excited for that one. So
Let me know, because I have similarly, I have the, anyway, I've got a lot of them. I've got a Big Agnes pillow that has a little memory foam and a little air bladder that you blow up, and an X pillow and a bunch of others. But I have heard about the
3.5 ounces.
Yeah. What did you call it? I've heard the name.
The Elite Dream Backpacking Pillow. It goes, just for anybody listening, goes on sale August 14th and will ship out August 18th. So be waiting August 14th.
I think solo trips, I'm probably going to run my puffy like I normally do as a pillow.
I saw
ditch the pillow when I'm solo.
I saw a guy do something pretty smart. You know how game bags, reusable game bags, normally come with 4 quarter bags and then like a loose meat bag?
Ooh.
He uses the loose meat bag as a pillowcase and stuffs his puffies in there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that's a good material.
Yeah, it is.
I might be trying that.
I like that.
So I switched out my game bags this year because I weighed them over the winter. Dude, you know how much some of those game bags weigh?
Too much.
Oh, they're a ton.
So what are you doing now?
They're in my closet right now, and I cannot for the life of me. I don't like them a lot because it's a little bit of a nylon material, so it takes a second to get the quarters down in there. But a whole set of them weighs less than 1.5 of the other game bags.
Dang.
Holy cow.
Yeah. It's all. I should have brought my spreadsheet, my laptop. It's all on there.
Is it 6 a.m.?
No. If I said the name, you would know it immediately. This is my
Have
problem.
you weighed like the Alaskan game bags, like the non-reusable, like just the
cheesecloth?
cloth?
Yeah, so
Because I wonder how light those are.
So I have not weighed any others, but you know the cottony feel. They're a really nice feeling game bag.
Yeah.
Like they would be an excellent pillow, right? So anyway, I just weighed the game bags that I had in my closet, and I don't even remember the brands, like even the ones that I decided to go with, right? Because I had different game bags in the closet. But the one brand, it is night and day difference.
You'll have to send me a link. Yeah,
They're in a little orange bag.
are they?
Are they the caribou ones?
No, it's like it's literally, I've got 5.
Argali has an orange bag. Are they Argali? No.
And the bag is like that wide and about yay long. I mean, it's
Kafaru ones?
no, because Kafaru. But anyway, sorry.
No,
Digression.
that's interesting. No, and that's where you can really get in the weeds with some stuff. And
Contractor bags. I've always carried a contractor bag because I hate my backpack being all bloody, right?
Yep.
Screw that. You know how much those weigh? I weighed one this winter while I was going through my closet. The contractor bags I had in my closet weigh like 4.5 ounces or something crazy.
You got those real heavy duty ones.
Yeah, they're beast mode.
Yeah.
So they're cool to have, and I guess it didn't make a big difference, but I didn't realize.
Are they that orange bag or no?
No, they're a little tiny. Oh, if I said the name, I can almost see their logo. So anyway, but then I realized I'm like, I have 2 contractor bags. So I took apart my kill kit this winter. I had all these game bags. I love having extra game bags. 2 contractor bags. My kill kit weighed like 18, 20 ounces.
Dang. Yeah. That's getting on par with sleeping bags and tents these days, dude.
I had so much stuff in there just because I like to keep my stuff clean after I kill it. I'm like, I think I can be efficient enough that I can get by with a whole lot less in my kill kit.
Dang. Okay, so what you got? How many deer tags do you have this year?
2.
2?
I have some. I didn't get a deer tag in Utah this year. I got. I have a couple of like. I have a general, like everybody. I have a general bull. I hope I have time to hunt that. But if it's like any years in the past, like I haven't even hunted Utah for I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
And then I have a couple of non-resident deer tags. I'm pretty excited about.
Heck yeah.
But as always, like we said earlier, I go to work every day, and this is real vacation time and real scouting time. And it makes so much sense in January and February. But when summer comes around, like the reality is both of these are high country hunts.
Yep.
To be sure the deer are where they're going to be, some of them might be up in early July, but the best scouting all happens from the end of July to the beginning of the hunt.
Yeah.
So how many weekends do you have there? 4, 5 weekends of premium scouting time before the hunt opens? And how many of those weekends are already gobbled up with family things? In this case, thankfully, I mean, it's all good things, but like my daughter's getting married this weekend or in a couple weekends. She and her fiance called me. They're like, when does your hunt start? And I told them, and they booked it. They thankfully made it's very nice of her.
Yeah.
To put her wedding date 2 weeks before the opener of the hunt so that it doesn't conflict. But little things like that. I mean, in January and February, I'm like, oh yeah, man, I'm going to have both of these units scouted out. I'll have a deer tied to the tree.
You're going in blind.
You're better than me, though. You've already gone scouting a couple times. I haven't been once.
Well, those are just those. Fortunately, I have a couple of boys that are old enough that they can go in with me, so it gives me an excuse to get away with them. They're just not none of them want to hunt with me right now.
Yeah.
I would totally pull them out of school to go hunt with me, but they still are a little bit. They're at that age where they really don't like. I mean, look, 2 weeks ago we went 25 miles in 2 days, and it was not an easy 25 miles. They were, not stoked. I mean, I wasn't stoked either.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, it's kind of fun to talk about after the fact, but in the middle of it, that's a lot of movement because you planted solid until, let's say, from sunup until 9 a.m. in the morning, plus or minus. And then we were hiking all the rest of the day until glassing time in the evening to get to the next spot to be in good good position for glassing in the evening and the morning. And then as soon as the morning glassing's over, you're hiking back to another spot to be in position. And it's just,
hardcore.
yeah, it's grinding.
Yeah.
So my boys are like, no, I don't want to hunt with you. I've kind of screwed that up. Wouldn't recommend it. I need to go to get them out and go kill a 2-point from the road or something. So
Yeah. Let's go on an OTC elk hunt.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
My youngest boy has a couple elk tags this year. That's probably what I'm most excited about. So
That's rad. Well, man, season starts. You're making me jealous with 2 tags because I think I'm sitting here with 7 or 8 tags, and
I can't even. Now this is what you do, right?
yeah,
But even that, I can't even wrap my head around that. Like,
no, September's wild. Every date I have in September butts up to one another. 30 days straight of 4 states. And hopefully I don't miss any flights or get delayed.
I mean, it's a different thing. I'm going to spend up to 9 days in both of these hunts.
Yeah, that's rad.
And that's as much as I've got in me, both for PTO and honestly physically. But I get it. It's a totally different situation. That's something that I've really had to reconcile because like you, I have other friends that are in the industry.
Yeah.
And some of the times I'm like, that doesn't even sound fun.
Yeah.
Right? What you have to do to create content and I'm like, nope.
It's work.
Yeah.
It's fun work, but the days of travel and missing your family and kids, and then the hours and hours, and I'm not complaining, but the hours and hours of the editing and culling through the footage to tell a decent story, that's the part that gets looked over a lot. And
well, I was talking to a good friend, and not to be named, that was like, yeah, I think I'm going to get a mobile, what's the
Starlink.
Yeah. Right. I think I'm going to get a Starlink and take it in and do live podcast updates. And I'm just like, that would ruin the whole hunt for me.
Yeah.
Like, no way. I mean, I get why he's doing it, and I think it will provide great content, and it's good for him and good for his business because his business is the archery industry.
Yeah.
And so I don't begrudge it at all. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, no way.
Yeah.
No way. That is absolutely everything I'm going into the backcountry to get away from.
Yeah. There's a lot of truth to that, and it's wild in a time to grow up where Jed and I have basically had all that tech. And it's like pretty soon, dude, like Elon has said it, like some of the new Google phones have the router built in. Like you don't even need Starlink anymore. And it's like,
yeah,
pretty soon it's going to be dang near impossible to unplug unless you just leave your phone in the truck.
I'm just going to a flip phone. Honestly, the only reason I carry this thing is for pictures and everything else. But like this, speaking of that, I don't even want to take my inReach this year because I think I've got enough technology right now. Yes, worst case scenario, something bad could happen, and that'll be a bummer. It's not the worst way to go, candidly.
Yeah.
Not worried about it, honestly. But I've got enough technology in the phone that I think I could reach out in a worst case scenario. And the inReach, what they're charging for the boot up fee now or whatever, it's like on top of your subscription, you have some stupid fee just to turn the thing back on for the year. Because I used to just go in and turn it back on every year. And I was like, that's enough.
Yeah. No, the satellite texting's getting scary good on the new iPhones. And then I've had some friends that have trouble getting texts out in like steep canyons with big canyon walls. But most of the places I'm hunting's not in the bottom of a ravine. But there's a couple hunts, like we're going on a big and Alaskan moose hunt this year. I'll probably take an inReach out there just to be safe. And I personally run the Zoleo.
I like that.
Always had
that plan's a lot more cost effective too, isn't it?
I think so. And I've never had an inReach. Eric's always had an inReach. Jed's always had an inReach. And apples to apples, I think it's pretty similar, but the Zoleo's kind of a little bomb proof, battery life, unbelievable. I don't know. I
have the Mini.
Yeah.
It's a great thing, right? But when I got ready to turn it on before scouting season this summer, and it told me that I had like a $40 or $50
activation fee or something.
Yeah. I was like, No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it was just kind of out of the principle of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they got to make their money somehow. Dang. Season's upon us.
I'm trying to think of, you've got a new bow this year. I'm still shooting my old bow.
Yeah.
I've lightened my arrows significantly.
I've heard a lot of people doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say I've always tried what people are talking about. And so when heavy FOC was the thing, I was trying that. Never got it to work really. But just kind of gone back to the way you used to build arrows years and years and years ago. You bought it, you stuck the insert in it that came in the package, right?
Yeah.
Put some vanes on it, and that was it after you cut it. And that's largely what it gets back to right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I still like a hit insert. I still like the iron will collar.
Yeah.
To protect my, the front end of the arrow. But instead of going with like a 50 or 75 grain iron will hit insert in a 4mm arrow, I'm going all the way down to, because that's what I've ran the last several years with a 10 grain collar.
Yeah.
I'm going all the way down to just the standard 20 grain Easton hit insert with a 10 grain collar. My arrow altogether weighs 430 grains.
Yeah.
But it tuned really easy.
I've heard a lot of people talking about arrows, and the justification I've always heard like heavier arrow, can handle brush better, is quieter. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Heavier arrow.
Yeah.
Versus lighter arrow. People were always like, oh, it's just faster. But I heard somebody, maybe it was Jeremiah at Wild Arrow the other day. I think he's running similar 440 to 480 type weight arrow. He's like, the biggest reason is just for misranging. He's like, my margin of error is so much smaller if I misrange by 3 to 5 yards. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, dude, that's huge. Like, how many times do you range a deer, and by the time you put your rangefinder back and loop up, that deer's taking a couple steps? And with a heavy arrow, that could be the difference,
Well, my situation, same reason.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what everyone's talking about right now. So it sounds bandwagony, but it really is. Like, it was easy to tune, significantly different speed. And how many times do you have deer that are in brush? Like I don't care how good your rangefinder is, hitting the actual antler or the ear or whatever you've got in most of the time when they're moving through or standing up out of cover, you don't often have the opportunity to range once they're in a position where you can slam them broadside with your rangefinder.
Yeah.
So having a little margin of error for the limbs and things that are within that area, a 1 or 2 yard margin of error because you've got a faster, that was a large driving factor, because we always say the whole reason the number one thing for my arrow is accuracy. And the number 2 thing is sound.
Yeah.
Mitigating sound. And then speed is kind of tertiary. And the accuracy equation that you just pointed out was a big determining factor for going to a lighter arrow.
Yeah, man.
And I went with some new gas bowstrings.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a couple feet per second, but I need a new bowstring, so
yeah,
throw those on.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Heck yeah. Yeah, my bow, pretty stoked on it. Shooting really, really good. Like,
yeah, no, you have access to people that can, like, you can go spend some time. Like, when I know you're at the bow shop working on your bow and I'm at work working, I'm like, I wish my bow were getting super tuned right now.
I've been to Wild Arrow 4 times. I did like an initial setup tune, and then a 100 arrow tune, a 200 arrow tune. I just finished like my 300 to 400 arrow tune, and I put a new sight on, that new Hoyt AXL driver, axle driver, whatever. Holy smokes! I don't know if it's the weight of it. I know it's like half the weight of the sight I was shooting. Just the aperture, I don't know. I love it. And I'm shooting that new Stand Clicker Index release.
Oh, yeah. Dang, I wanted to bring my bow and shoot that release.
Yeah, that thing, because I don't know how many people know, but I experienced a little target excitement, and I think it's just, I used to never really have that problem, but have messed up a couple deer in the last couple years, and I've really been trying to blank bail as much as I can and going and get some coaching from the guys at Wild Arrow. And dude, something about a clicker, an index clicker, like a thumb clicker. I feel like I was always messing with my hand too much. This index clicker, man. And I draw right as my target's like my pin's on target. I'm hitting that click, and then I have about like 1 to 2 seconds maybe of just focusing on where I want to hit, not my pin, just where I want to hit as I execute that shot. Dude, I'm so excited.
Groups are shrinking.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know what it is about it. I have the thumb button clicker.
Yeah.
Stand clicker.
Yep.
And I've shot it throughout the off season, and every time it gets ready for archery season, I go back to my old Carter RX2 index finger release.
Yep.
And so just switched to that at the beginning, switched back to that for all of my target shooting August 1. And really want to try that Stan Onyx clicker.
Yeah, dude.
You have the index one.
Yeah.
So I was going to bring my bow tonight just because I wanted to shoot that release.
We need to go shoot. I need it because in your yard you can stretch out to like 80, 90 if you want.
130, 160.
Yeah. Mine, I had to cross into my parents' front yard across the street to get 60.
Some kid comes rolling down on a four-wheeler. That would be going
I know. I have to like listen.
You guys should come over and shoot. That'll give me a chance to shoot the Stan Onyx clicker.
Let's do it.
We'll back it out there a little bit. I just, because I'm just switching over, I'm kind of fine-tuning my bow right now because I just switched over from arrows that had a 50 grain insert up front, and those were all glued in. I didn't use the hot melt, so I had to go to a whole new dozen arrows to change up this year.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of making all of those transitions right now, transitioning away from the thumb button. I just, no matter how much I shoot it, I'm not going, I want an index finger release when I'm hunting. And I don't know why, other than just I've never shot a thumb button hunting, and I don't know what that's. There are things that you genuinely can't prepare for. I don't go hunt whitetails or freaking what you get to do in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And go actual in a hunting scenario that's kind of low consequence.
Yeah.
With gear that I'm testing, and I am not going to take a thumb button release. I don't care how many pieces of foam I've shot with it.
Yeah.
On a mule deer hunt, because that's could be my once in a lifetime hunt, depending on the buck that steps out, right?
Yep. So
I always go back to the old Carter RX2.
I mean, it was, you killed the biggest deer ever killed with a bow.
That's kind of fun, huh? Like, I still wonder what that all means. But I know this, I was chasing, so I say I don't test things, but that year, I contradicting myself because I had one of those big freaking Valkyrie fixed blade broadheads.
Oh, yeah.
I was so heavy front of center, 200 spine arrows. And you've heard the story, but like I literally told everyone in camp before opening day, I'm like, I'm comfortable out to 26 yards with this bow right now. Sorry.
And that, for those of you who don't know, that's what yardage he shot. A 348-inch mule deer.
I stalked in and sure as shooting, man, 26.3 yards. I'm like, how does that happen?
Oh my goodness. I don't know that I could pull it together right then.
But that Valkyrie broadhead is like a beast. It's just got this profile. That
you never found the arrow, right?
No, dude.
It went to the moon, airmailed.
It went through that deer. Still, like, I remember the sound. I'm like, I couldn't even tell that I hit the deer. That's just how smooth that arrow was. I was like, I know I hit that deer, but it just flew through that thing like nothing. Those fixed blades are beast mode. But
that's that huge deer I shot on the front last year. Yeah. Single bevel cut on contact. Dude, bolt. I shot that deer twice at 20 yards and didn't even know I hit him.
So to me, that's all the more rationale. I went back to mechanicals after that.
Yeah, same.
First, again, because we go back to accuracy and then we go back to sound.
Yep.
Nothing can beat a mechanical. We all know that. I still need to dive into all that guy's data.
Oh, yeah, James Yates.
Yeah, I need to look into that because I was really excited for that. And then I'm like, look, I'm not going to be able to put it in play this year anyway. I've already made my bed with what arrows and everything that I'm shooting. So I think that I'm pretty close to where he landed though, because I've got the vanes that I like. What are they? They're the TAC 2.75.
Yeah.
And I run a 3-fletch configuration because it's super quiet and gives me enough steering. And then I've ran the Severs since they were the Ulmer Edge.
Yeah.
I still have like 8 of the original Ulmer Edge. And there's no smaller profile expandable out there. But when you hit a deer with an expandable.
I shot tack with,
I know.
I shot tack with the owner of AAE.
Yeah.
Forget his name. Super cool dude. Deadly with a bow.
I'll bet.
And him and his wife. And we got talking about that study. And I think I'm going to try and shoot a 5-fletch AAE 23.
You got to show me this.
Dude.
5-fletch?
Yeah.
The 23s are like micro.
Yeah. And he has all the data. It tested in Yates study. Quietest, best steering. Yeah. 5-fletch. And then he was a huge fan of the Evolution Jekyll broadhead.
Really?
So it's a hybrid.
Who? James Yates or the AAE guy?
The AAE guy, but the Evolution broadhead tested super high in the Yates accuracy and sound study.
Okay.
But it's like a 1 1/4 cut on contact fixed blade. And then once it expands, it's like 2.5.
How does that differ? I know that the Sever hybrid doesn't have that much when it's expanded. It's like 1.5 expanded. Yeah. But what's the cut on contact with the Sever hybrid? Do you know?
I think they have a 1.5 and 2 probably.
Because James in Yates' study, he says that hybrid performed almost on par with the straight mechanical, right?
Yep.
Even though it had those bleeder veins.
Yeah.
It's all crazy. But again, crazy. I'm not buying another dozen Severs just because of Yates' study. So I was like, I'll get into that this winter.
I'm shooting the beast.
Are you?
I shot 4 deer and a pig.
Hawaii.
And that leaves a hole in those animals, dude. Not one of them was in the pocket behind the shoulder. They're all through shoulder blades, quartering to
really
65 yards on a pig, right through like their shield. And 65 yards through the camera, you can hear blood coming through that. And I'm like, holy smoke. And it died in like 5 seconds. I'm like, yeah, those broadheads are making it in the quiver.
And they're quiet.
Because
I remember you
can shoot them open too. Like,
that's crazy.
If something happened, they steer super well open.
So from what I've heard about Yates' study, talking to friends, I think you have probably one of the best. I don't know if you were filming it or someone else, but when you had that deer tag a couple of years ago, you were shooting a mechanical not to be named. And I told you, I was like, that freaking thing kills everything, but it sounds like an Apache helicopter.
Sounds like a beehive.
Yeah. And you have the best slow motion video I've ever seen of a mule deer that is completely unaware of everything, reaching up, eating from a brush, and completely ducks your arrow based purely on the sound of the arrow.
Yeah.
And you can see that clear as day.
What about the study?
Did you film that?
I was glassing back. That was Logan.
What about the study Levi Morgan has recently dropped? I haven't read it, but I've heard enough people talking about it that the worst distance to shoot at a deer is like 30 to 40 yards. The sound of your bow and the timing. So you want to be 20 or under or like 50 and farther. Those are like the least amount of like ducking.
So that is fully corroborated by Randy Ulmer, because Randy Ulmer lives by that, right?
He was talking about that years ago.
50, 60 out. He has more real-time experience. Like, I shouldn't say, but boots on the ground, first-hand experience with exactly what you're talking about.
With mule deer.
And he's killed stud elk too, right?
Yeah.
Let's not joke ourselves. The dude has some of the biggest elk archery's ever seen. But he's been saying that for years and years and years. And now we have better instruments and better ways to gather that. And I think I haven't seen what Levi said.
Yeah.
What's the only thing I can say about that is if
I totally forgot. I remember reading that from Ulmer.
You've got to send me what Levi did from a study, because Ulmer's been saying that for as long as I've known that he exists. Like you on mule deer, you post up at 50 or out. and you don't take your chances beyond that. One, because they tolerate so much less when you're inside that distance. If they hear a little twig or a little pebble at 20 yards, they're going to bounce. If they hear it at 50 yards, they're like, that's their depth perception with their hearing is phenomenal like that. But also, the biggest reason is because of what you're talking about, their ability to bounce that string. So I'd love to see what Levi put out there. Now, my personal firsthand experience, and granted, I mean, at 26 yards, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because in that time frame that I killed that deer at 26 yards, I had a 5-year run where every mule deer I killed was inside of 40, and I think 4 of them were inside of 35, 32 yards.
That's awesome.
Now, none of them were none the wiser that I was there.
Yeah.
There was, right? But that footage that you showed me from a couple of years ago.
That was like 43, 44 yards.
That deer was absolutely clueless.
Yeah.
Until it heard the Apache coming in on it.
Well, Casey, I was over the shoulder in Molokai filming Casey. Full draw. It's probably 70 yards actual distance, but the cut distance was like 42 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's windy. Like you can hear my audio clipping over the shoulder on this buck. This buck's feeding. It's legit like turned its head, like itching its butt. It starts like turning its head back. Casey shoots. That deer turns its head and it turns from broadside to quartering away to fully facing away. And that arrow almost takes the thing's neck out by the time that arrow got there, and that deer was gone. Did a full...
In like 0.9 seconds.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Just 90 degrees. Whoosh, and probably dropped 18 inches. And I'm like, dude, there is no way that deer heard that. But then Levi Morgan's thing came about, and then I remember listening to Randy Ulmer on a podcast talking about that. His like safety bubble, he would call it, or something like that. And that makes so much sense, because it's like the last 2 mule deer I've watched die with my bow, both of them were at 72 yards. And that's a poke, but
and they
like,
just took it. Like,
yeah, just took it. And then the last 2 deer I've wounded have been 40 yards or less.
Yeah.
I don't know. That deer last year, I think,
the
I don't
stuff
know
is
how
top
he
of
didn't die.
mind for me. I mean, now's the time where, again, you've got to make those decisions now.
Yeah.
And then just stick with it when you're, and it's the same thing when you go on a stalk, like we talked about at the beginning. It's like when you plan your route and you take your pictures, and then you're looking at your pictures and trying to figure out where you are when you get over there, whatever you're doing. Aaron put out that really good video. I did watch that video because Aaron puts out some pretty solid content.
Yeah.
And he put out a piece about using the azimuth to help you with getting in the right position on a mule deer and those types of things.
What's an azimuth?
So that's map reading and
Okay, so yeah, this is when he goes back to reading maps and the topography.
well, but you're also, I mean, for all intents and purposes, you're finding your point on the skyline, and then you're finding it on your map. You should watch his video because he does a good job of explaining it in layman's terms, which all I can do is think about the concepts. I can't even reiterate them to you.
Yeah.
But he does a nice job with that. But I mean, this goes back to, I don't even know where I was going with that, but as far as making those decisions right now, making your decision that you're going to figure out your stalk on a mule deer. You're going to wait for it to stand up. You're not going to shoot it in its bed. You're not going to throw rocks on it. All the things that go through your head in the middle.
Yeah.
You make those decisions right now. And then you plan your stalk around that. Okay, he's in a position. I can go post up. That looks like that's 50 plus yards away. And then you stick with that. And if you start listening to your spotter, your host. I guarantee your host.
Okay, that's the gospel. I'm living by that this hunting season.
You better come back with some tags filled.
Oh, I mean, if I don't, I'm probably just gonna keep killing them with the camera and leave the bow at home. But yeah, man, I'm stoked for the season. I'm stoked to see what you round up, and hopefully we can cross paths this season.
I hope so. I mean, depending on what I find this weekend, because I'm going to take a PTO day Friday. I get in there about midnight and start hiking. Be there sunup Friday morning, and for sunup Saturday morning, then I got to be back to take care of some things on Sunday. So it's going to be another one of those trips. But depending on what I find, it'll be interesting to see if we can't cross paths at some point.
Yeah. Well, son of a gun. Yeah. Justin Gordon, ladies and gentlemen, he doesn't really do social media. Do you want to plug it?
Nope.
Okay, it doesn't
It ruins everything, bro. It's just like taking a freaking Starlink into the backcountry. That's not why I hunt.
Fans it. Yeah.
He's a real OG. He doesn't care about that stuff. So, Justin Gordon, ladies and gentlemen, and if you've made it this long,
congratulations.
That was a lot to wade through, but I'm just excited that we were able to sit down, and this is about the only uninterrupted time Justin and I can get to iron out some of these topics without family functions or barbecues being interrupted a little bit. So I'm grateful for it.
Jed, we need to do more interview time with you, get more insights. So we got to do this again soon.
Yeah,
I know. I'm excited. This podcast, grateful for it, got me excited for next week. I mean, it kicks off. It's velvet season next week.
We're going scouting Monday.
So hopefully we can find a shooter for Maddie. He's tag holder.
Game on. Me and Eric. So
I'm excited.
It'll be a good time. Thanks for watching, folks. If you liked it, if you learned something, please share it, subscribe.
I want that hat.
And we're going to get just one of these hats.
Matt, show him the hat. That's a cool hat.
You can get yours at gethushin.com, and this will probably be 45 entries to win a Can-Am.
Oh, I'm going to buy one then.
Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.
See ya.